thank you for joining us this morning, faculty. We're going to spend about an hour with Jimmy Williams. If you don't know Jimmy, there's Jimmy from the academic kind of unit of ITD. And we're just hearing from a lot of our faculty that we just kind of need a brief crash course on just getting going with Canvas. Like I've not been able to take, I'm not an early adopter. I don't have a lot of knowledge yet about Canvas, so just help me get started. So this session was Jimmy's idea. So we're going to turn it over to Jimmy, let him drive the bus, and he's going to allow plenty of time for Q&A today. So Jimmy, take it over.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. As Jennifer said, my name is Jimmy Williams. I am an instructional technology admin here at MTSU, which is just a fancy way of saying that I'm an LMS admin. I'm joined with the training team today. Jennifer has been heading that up for us. But Laura, Neal, Tara Perrin, Halmeen, Karen Hine, and Albert, my boss. We are always here to help any questions that you have. And as Jennifer mentioned, this workshop came about because I've spoken with many faculty, my wife included, that have said, I don't know where to start. I missed, the early trainings on intro to Canvas, and now they're doing all of these advanced trainings, and I don't know where to go. And all of the correspondence that they've had as far as emails are concerned, it's become overwhelming. So what I wanted to do today was just kind of go over where we're at, how you access Canvas, what to expect, maybe some of the differences, and then also show how you export a course from D12 and then import it into Canvas. Sound good? All right. So the first thing that I want to show you, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here, is a great resource site available that we have put together, and it will show you a lot of different aspects of resources and where you can find training and things like that. So when you first log in and the URL is mtsu.edu/Canvas. Then we're going to click on the Access Canvas training over here on the right. Now, there's three links here. ServiceNow Canvas Request, which is where you can request a development shell if you want to import your courses over, and logging into Canvas. So if you've never logged into Canvas, you can click in right here, use your same SSO credentials that you would use to log into D12 or your email. But let's go ahead and take a look at the Access Canvas training. So on this page, and this is the Center for Teaching and Mentoring, formerly the LT and ITC, you see different links down here at the bottom. You have the December Canvas training calendar, which shows all of the trainings that we've had thus far this December, and then any of the trainings we have coming up. Now, granted, we are going towards the end of the semester or end of the year, so I know that a lot of people, myself included, are starting to check out as far as, well, you know what, I'll just handle this when I get back. But you can see that there are several things here. Now, also notice that you have click here to see the recording. This is also available. Let me go ahead and close this for the October Canvas recordings and the November Canvas recordings. So as we move forward, and we're going to continue to do a lot of trainings. Now, on the training team, I can tell you that we're usually doing 1 to 2 trainings a day, which in and of itself sounds very daunting, like, oh my gosh, I don't want to take that many trainings. You don't have to, but we are making those resources available to you so that you always have access to us before we go live. Now, you still will have access to us once we go live, but obviously our time is going to be finite at that point because we are going to be answering all questions, emails, phone calls, and all of that associated with Canvas and the migration. So let's go ahead and click on the Canvas resources here. And this is just a nicely put together resource here. And you can still see that you have the Canvas requests, training recordings here on the CTM YouTube page. And then you have login to MTSU Canvas, the Canvas resource page, the CTM Canvas site, and I don't want to read all these to you, but there's a lot of resources available. So let's go ahead and look at the Canvas resource site. We break it down into faculty and students for you. Go ahead and take a look at the faculty. This, to me, is one of the best resources available. Now, obviously, we have all the knowledge, right? So let me go ahead and just put something out there for you. This is a new system for us also. So we are learning, and we will continue to learn as we move forward with the transition. But everything that we've learned up to this point, we've cataloged and are continuing to catalog. And we put all of this information here for you. So this gives you all the information, and you can open one of these up, and there's a lot of information here for you, complete with walkthroughs. So I strongly encourage you to take a look at this when you get a chance. Now, one of the things that I want to tell you is all of you should have access to Canvas currently. Okay. And what that means is that if, like I said, if you go to, sorry, trying to stop the share just so I can see everybody, and it's minimized here at the top. Haha, there we go. Okay. So currently, all of you should have access to Canvas. And that URL, and I think that she's already put that, yes, Karen has already put that in there. She is the link master when it comes to these trainings. The mtsu.instructure.com. If you have not logged into Canvas, I strongly encourage you to do so. And we'll take a look at it here in just a second so that it's not so overwhelming. But I think a lot of the sentiment is nobody really likes change. So people have put it off, and but understand that even if you have put it off up to this point, there's still a lot of time to get involved in it. You have not procrastinated to the point where now an anxiety attack is going to happen because classes are starting next week. The official start date for Canvas going live for our university is in the summer of 2026. So I'm sure that you guys have heard spring 2026 and fall 2026 and summer. So understand that definitively, we as a university are going live with Canvas in summer of 2026. Now, there is an early adopter program which has now been cut off, or we're trying to cut it off because as people are kind of getting involved, they're like, oh, you know what, this isn't so bad. Let me go ahead and try to get in. So, but we have about 200 classes that are going to be going live in the spring. And so in the interest of managing all of that from an admin standpoint and a training standpoint, we're going to go ahead and try to cut that off. So if you are not part of that early adopter program, we are going to be going live in the summer of 2026. Everybody with me so far? Any questions? Stephanie, I saw you say yes. I think you meant no.
Hey,
All right.
Jimmy,
Yes.
Scott McDaniel dropped a question in the chat about summer 2026. You want to address that? Make
That
sure we're
is
clear about that.
correct. Yes,
Okay,
we are
thanks.
not going to have D2L as an option in 2020, in summer of 2026. And actually, I've had that question a couple times before, and usually it was, but what if my classes aren't ready? Um, well, they need to be. And now the truth is that I said earlier that our time is going to be finite when that time comes. Summer is relatively slower for this faculty and we as admins. So it's not going to be terrible if you're teaching in the summer, you still will absolutely have access to us. You can always get a hold of us via email or Teams or a phone call. Now, me personally, I would rather a quick phone call. So if you sent me a message in Teams and said, "Hey, I'm having trouble with this. I don't quite understand," I would say, "Hey, let's jump on a phone call," because I don't like going back and forth in a text when a conversation is the easiest way to do it. But not everybody's like that. If you'd rather go back and forth through email or text, then I will work with you on that. And we have several other people in our department that are the same way. However you want to get help, we're happy to do that. What I know you just said. Okay, so in January you will be. Sorry, I've got another screen over here and the one in front of me. So in the spring we will be using D2L if you are not an early adopter. If you are an early adopter, that's not you. You're muted, Melissa.
Like how
There we go.
how do we know if we're an early adopter? Do we just like choose like I volunteer as tribute or have we been
Pretty much. That's how it would have happened at this point. Now, like I said, we're trying to cut that off, the official like stop to that because we had a lot of people that wanted to buy in. And another reason for that also is that it extra special support right now as an early adopter
Uh,
because like we will help you with your classes, we'll help you understand every aspect that you want to know about, and that those resources will still be there. But right now it's very focused on those individuals that are going to be piloting this for us. Okay. All right. So another thing that I really like about Canvas that D2L does not have is that you have access to 24/7 chat support from Canvas. Not only do you have that support, but your students have that support also. So I am sure that my wife is not the only one that continues to work well into the night, meaning 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning. And I still get those questions because I'm an admin and she has access to me, like, hey, didn't you say you could do this? But now you have access to 24/7 chat support. And that is a phenomenal resource because no longer do you have to write an email and wait for us to get back to you at 8 o'clock in the morning. All right, so let's go ahead and I'm going to jump back in to this. All right, so what we're going to do, let me, all right, and let's get into Canvas. So when you first log into Canvas, this is what you are going to see. Nothing crazy. So the differences in the courses here is that at the top you have the courses that are published. Now, one difference that you will see, and this is going to be glaring at first, is that in Canvas, everything has to be published. So when classes push over, they're going to be blank shells the same way that they would be in D2L. And then you can import that content from one shell to the next. Now, content in Canvas is so much easier to share with other classes. You can also share it with another faculty member without adding them to your course. That is a nice change. And I think personally, being able to do something like that is a very nice change because there's a lot of, can you add this person to my course? Or, hey, I need this person's content. And, then I always respond back with, well, I need that person's permission or the chair's permission. So then it's a back and forth email when you can just share it out really easy. And an easy way to see, so like I said, this is your training. I'm sorry, this is your dashboard. This is what you're going to see when you first log in. Now, not all of your classes are going to be listed here. Now, let me soothe some nerves there. What I mean by that is you have your current courses that are published, and then you probably have upcoming courses for the next semester that are going to show down here as unpublished. Something else that's going to allow you to do is you will be able to decide when your class is going to be released to the students. Because no matter what the dates are, if it's not published, they're not going to see it. Now, that is a pretty general theme when it comes to Canvas, and this is something that Helen, our official Canvas trainer, has preached from the beginning. In Canvas, it's always publish the thing, because if you create a new quiz, you're going to need to publish it before the students can see it, no matter if the dates are set or not. So that being said, notice that I left out like, well, your past courses from 2 years ago that you taught. They're not going to show up on this screen. Where they're going to show up is under courses. So when you go into courses, actually, let me do something first. And I'm holding my hand up. You're not supposed to look at the screen yet. I'm going to go in, I'm going to impersonate my wife's account. And this is not something that you can see, or that you'll have access to, rather. Uh, and I meant to do this beforehand. Give me 1 second. It's courses. Okay, now you can open your eyes. Now you can look at the screen. Okay, so this is her dashboard. These are the classes that the shells have already been created. Notice that you have a D2L export right here. This was done by K16, which is a whole nother subject, but we are exporting classes automatically from a D2L into Canvas. And it's done by a third-party company called K16 that they will, any class that is using 4 or more tools. Now that means news item, content, quizzes, gradebook, that type thing. So if you're using 4 different tools within D2L, your content from last year. Now understand that, and this is very important, from last year. Anything past that, you're going to have to export that yourself. Okay, so, and I'll show you how to do that here in just a minute. But if you're using 4 or more tools, your content will be put into,
Quick question.
yes,
As you say last year, do you mean last academic year or last calendar year?
last academic year. So we're looking at spring, summer, and fall of 2025 will be pulled over into Canvas. Now, Sherry made a good point. Communication on that will come from Brian Highnote very soon. Because we're trying to make it to where all communication on this comes from Brian Highnote or his office. And the reason for that is there are so many people involved in this project. It is a huge project. And everybody has varying levels of knowledge about what's going on. So if I send out an email like, oh, make sure that you don't forget this, and then somebody else has a different level of knowledge, like, oh, well, yes, don't forget that, but there's also this. We'd rather it all come from one centralized location so that there's no miscommunication as much as possible. Now, the downside to that is, and it's not really a downside, but it's that there is a lot of communication that's going out. All right, so this is my wife's dashboard. And like I said, this is your current semester, and then anything that is not published is going to be listed down here. Now, courses, and this isn't going to show as many courses. Basically, I've used her as a guinea pig, and I've added her to a lot of different classes. But you will be able to see all of your past courses here, as well as the term that they are involved in. So let's use D2L as an example. We have classes going all the way back to 2007. If we had all of those classes in here, which we don't, you'd be able to sort by term and find the course that you're wanting to look at. Okay? Everybody with me so far? Okay. So now we're going to go in and take a look at a course. So this is a course that I put together, and when we go in and take a look at it, I'll explain a few things about it. So this is the template that has been created for our university. We had a whole committee on it. We met regularly, and this is where we landed. And quite honestly, I'm pretty happy with the way that it looks. Now, on the left-hand side, you'll notice here that you have some eyeballs with lines through it, just like what we used to see in the gradebook in D2L if something was not released to the students. Same thing here. So what this means is that you as an instructor can see it, or it could be that there's nothing in it. But notice when you hover over it, it says disabled, not visible to students. And what that means is that just like in D2L, you have view as a student. So what do you think is going to happen when I view as a student? How many things do you think are going to show up over here on the navigation? All right, well, let's just find out. Thank you, Melissa. Yes. All right, so we're going to view as a student. And notice over here, now we have Microsoft Education, grades, modules, and announcements. Okay, so the Microsoft Education is Microsoft 365. So it's the Teams integration. However, it's not ready yet. So that's going to go away for the time being. It will eventually be working for us. Currently, we're working on the security side of things. So we have grades, modules, and announcements. Now, as I stated, let me go ahead and leave the student view. As I stated, and I think this put me back as an admin, but it is what it is. All right. So as I stated, this is the template that we put together as as a university for our faculty. So this is the home page that comes up. You can edit it, you can change it to whatever you'd like. And then when you go over to the modules area, see the modules. Now, granted, this is still part of the template. So if you were to import this in, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second, you would get all of this. This is just a sample of what your content could look like. Okay, so one of the big differences that I can see in the content area from an admin standpoint is that there are no submodules in Canvas. Now you have the option to indent. So if you come over here to the right, you can choose to decrease the indent or decrease or increase the indent. And you can also create, let's do this. You can also create a text header and just not put anything in it and watch what happens. So that adds it to the bottom of the module right here. And just like in D2L, you can grab it and pull it up. So say that we wanted to have a space in between the different sections here. You can do that. So this is not different than anything that you've done in the past. It's very easy if you go in to add something. You can choose anything you'd like. You can add an external tool. So if you have an LTI or a publisher integration, external URL, a page, which basically the best way to put this is, in D2L, if you create a file, it opens up an HTML document and you can create whatever you'd like. The same thing here. Okay, so a page actually is even what the home page is. This is just a page. So you can create a page however you'd like. You can embed videos in some if you'd like. And in fact, one thing that I really do like about Canvas, the ability to embed media or to create videos on the fly in pretty much anything, that is a really nice feature. So any questions so far on what you've seen? Any comments? I want to see your faces. Okay. Any comments on anything?
Did you say you're going to show us how to access the homepage template that was
Yes,
made?
I'm going to in just 1 second. Actually, that's my next step. But I wanted to hear a comment, and we will stand here and stare at each other until somebody gives me a comment.
I'm giving you a comment. There you go.
And-
Check mark.
No, Carrie, Panopto is absolutely available. It's already integrated into the system, but they can't run in both platforms at the same time. So we will still have the same setup to where your videos will show up, and I have not heard any different on that. I do also know that we will have Studio available at least for the first year, and we are still in talks on trying to get that worked out long term. Studio is a fantastic product, and in my opinion, much better than Panopto because it has the first year, Scott. So it allows for creation and editing of videos that far surpasses what Panopto offers. All right, so now let's go in and let's go back to my dashboard. And I'm going to, let's choose the development course. So this is a completely empty course. I removed everything earlier. Now, one thing that I will go ahead and caution you about, in D2L, if you were to contact me and say, hey, I copied the wrong course in, can you reset it for me? We can do that in D2L. In Canvas, that option goes away. And the reason that it goes away is that in Canvas, it resets the course, but do you see this URL here at the top? We rely on this number for a lot of the integrations that we have. And in Canvas, when we reset the course, it changes this number. So any integrations that we have that rely on that, and Panopto is one of them, it would completely break it. So we will not be able to reset a course in Canvas. Now we can still not automatically, we can still manually delete content and all that kind of stuff, and we can walk you through the fastest way to do that, but it is a manual process. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go in and we are going to import from Commons. So Canvas Commons is where we are going to house all of our templates, all of our sample home pages, anything that we create for you as faculty you'll have access to. Something else Commons is that you can put, Scott, give me 1 second. You can upload courses and things like that. You can upload courses, pages, quizzes, anything that you want to. You could upload that into the Commons, and other faculty would have access to it as well if you wanted to do it like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at it. So as I said, this is a completely blank course. I'm going to go ahead and import from Commons. Now, right now, this is just open everywhere. Notice there are 500 plus pages of things available. This is not specific just to our university. If you wanted to make it specifically for our university, you would just go into search, MTSU, and now you'll see that we already have 192 things that have been uploaded from our university. So we have the MTSU Canvas course. This is the template. You also have homepage options. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. So this is the first homepage, or actually the second homepage. And you can see that you have instructor information. Sorry, looking at the chat at the same time. So this is one of the options for the home pages. We're going to go back to search, and you can go through these and check them out, see what you like, what you don't like. So you also have the MTSU Online Canvas course template. This is just whole university. So let's go ahead and take a look. Shows you all the different things that we have available in it, content-wise, file-wise, everything like that. So let's go ahead and we're going to import download. So it gives you the option on which course you want to export it to. So this is just the dev course that I created. So I'm only going to select that. So basically what that means is that you could choose all of your courses if you wanted to import this in, but keep in mind that any course that already has content of some type in it, if you import this template in, it will append everything that is added to the bottom of whatever's already there. It doesn't replace it. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and select the course or the dev course and import. And you have successfully started the import. So we're going to go back to dashboard. We're going to click on this. Now it's not an immediate thing. There's a lot of copying that's happening in the background right now. So if we sat on this page and just kept hitting refresh, eventually everything would show up, but we're not there yet. Okay, but that's how easy it is to import from the Commons. See, and now we're starting to get all this content that comes in. And what we can do now is if we choose homepage, now we can choose. Now, here, real fast. All right, so it pulled everything in here, okay? And notice, remember earlier when I said publish the thing? Notice here that none of these are published because this is specifically instructor module do not publish. Let's hit refresh one more time. Now that homepage is there where it wasn't before. And if you want, say that you imported this template and you wanted to create a new homepage of your own making, or you liked another homepage. So if you came in and said choose homepage, this will give you a list of all of the pages that are currently in your course. Okay. And we're just going to go ahead and leave it like this, but just that's where you would do it. All right. So let's go over to the modules real quick. Modules is the Yeah. So modules is the content area within Canvas. All right, so notice here you have all these green check marks. That means that these are published, whereas this one at the top is not. Okay, so it's a really easy visual check to see whether or not something has been published or not. So are there any questions? And again, I'm going to stop sharing for just a second. Are there any questions on how to import from the Commons? Pretty simple procedure. Okay. If there are no questions,
Hey, Jim,
so yes.
I was just going to say, we hope that as our early adopters and you wonderful, fabulous faculty that we have here, as you create wonderful things, like I know we've been talking about, Scott and I have been talking about some of the things that he is doing with his course. You can choose to share those with MTSU faculty and staff in the Commons. People in your department can share things. MTSU Online can send you lots more things besides just the template. There's cool activities that are being done, rubrics that you're using. You can share all those in Canvas Commons, and they only go to MTSU faculty. Students don't have access, and our Commons is only for MTSU. So,
Correct. Now, that being said, you can still access stuff from outside of our university, but you cannot post anything or upload anything for another university. All right, so Carrie, something that she brought up a good question. So the home is more stagnant, announcements is more like the D2L newsfeed. Yeah, so it is stagnant in that, the way that this template is set up is that you have the buttons down here at the bottom that it will take you. So if you hit start here, it's going to take you to the start here module. And course information is going to take you to a course information, or course content is going to take you to the module area. Instructor information is going to take you to a page about your instructor, and you can have all of your information here if you wanted to. The announcements is the equivalent, let's say, to the news feed within D2L. So you can change that as far as how many announcements you want to show to your students. If we come down to settings, let's see, where is it? Show recent announcements on the course homepage. You can change this. Now, I would not suggest that you do. You can have 15 announcements that show up on the page. But understand that it functions much like D2L in that the students can hit that X and close everything out if they wanted to, and it just dismisses them. Now, one thing that I will tell you, and much like D2L, that you have the option to go in and set your notifications. Now, we've gotten a lot of questions about, well, if I set notifications, does that mean my students will see it? Nope. Same thing in D2L. The students have the option to set their settings or their notifications however they want. So, but they can go in. There are a lot more options here. And something else that I really liked about this, you can set this to where if you get an email, you get a notification. But like I said, there are a lot of things that you can choose here. So make sure that before you start getting 75, notifications a day from it, that you set this up the way that you want. Okay? And your students have the ability to do that as well. You can go in and set your profile. There's a lot of different options that you can do here. So any questions so far? Because the next thing that I'm going to do is we're going to go through how to export from D2L and import into Canvas. Feel free
Yes,
to.
Scott
Go
had
ahead.
his hand up first.
Sure, go ahead.
And this may be better just to do in person, but I created a little home page, sort of a welcome page. It's got a video of me on it with my little banner and I'll start here and like the e-text. But I figure after the first week or two, it would be kind of dumb to have the welcome page every time they go in is set as my home page. So I'm just wondering what the best practices are for setting up that home page. I also have had links to modules, but there's already a modules link up there, and I'm trying to limit it to no more than like 3 or 4 links on that left-hand side. So I was just going to see what I've seen. A lot of the ones that you guys have developed and they look great, but I just don't want to duplicate. I don't want to have too many ways to get to the same thing. If I don't know, I'm just trying to figure out the best way.
So I would say that, having some redundancy is never a bad thing because somebody's logic path on how they get somewhere is going to be different than the next person's.
Mhm.
That being said, you can change things like on the fly if you wanted to. If you wanted to change the homepage to something else, then that's
Yeah.
absolutely your prerogative.
Yeah.
And I don't think that that necessarily would be a bad thing. I would caution that if you are going to employ that, meaning that you're going to change your homepage relatively often, that your students could still access everything that they need to access. Now, I've always preached, long before we started coming to Canvas, that the content area needs to be a one-stop shop,
Mhm.
and that is very heavily driven in Canvas.
Mhm.
They would prefer you not have a lot of links on the left-hand side navigation. They would rather everything be handled within the content.
Mhm.
And much like D2L, when you can add existing activities and add your discussions and your drop boxes and your quizzes and things like that, it's the same in Canvas. So if you do plan on employing different home pages, just make sure that your students are possibly aware. Maybe make an announcement like, hey guys, I will occasionally change this homepage just to make it easier for you to navigate or to do this or that. Because I know that if I were a student, and even on the faculty side, like if you went into a class and it looked different, that would make you stop for a second, like, am I in the right place?
Right.
Hey, Jimmy.
I mean,
Yes.
I want to add too, I actually knew somebody who took the same homepage, Scott, same one that you have, with, the basic things there, like the same links. I agree with what Jimmy's saying about consistency, but they changed the banner at the top based on the season. Like around Thanksgiving, there was a turkey at the top instead, and it still said Math 1710, 002 at the top. So you're not going to be too lost. And most of the consistency was there, but I knew this person, and she changed it about once a month, just switching it up just to keep students interested. So I think there's value in both of those.
Yeah. And Scott, also, I'll tell you this. I've been working with you for a long time, and you are a very conscientious teacher. And I know that you always put your students first. So none of those statements was meant to think that you wouldn't take all of that into consideration.
mhm.
So I completely, I would, I would trust however you have that set up. And I agree with Sherry. I like that idea, changing it a little bit, with the seasons or whatever the case. And I agree that at a certain point, you don't necessarily need to be a welcome. And if the students can still access everything that they need to access, I'd say roll with it,
Mhm.
man. I'd be interested to see what you do.
Okay. Thank
All
you.
right, so Amy, you had a question?
Yes. So lots of customization and options overwhelms me completely.
Hmm.
So if I just want to do the basics,
Mhm.
do you recommend just using the template that you showed us from the Commons, the MTSU basic template?
Yeah, so what I would do if I were you, being that you don't want to make a lot of changes, is I would first import your course into Canvas and see where you stand. That way, if you like that, great. If you don't, then what we can do is you can still import the template in to where there is some design aspect to it, and then you can make the changes from there.
So
Now,
you
go
don't
ahead.
start with the template and then add the content?
You 100% can. So earlier when I said that the course reset was not an option in Canvas, that is to say on live classes. So anything that uses, say, Panopto or other integrations that are specific to the OU number in the URL, if that number changes, it breaks the integrations associated with it. But if you have a development course, for example, and needed to reset it, that would be something that we would do on a case by case basis for people. Now, we would still preach that, hey, manual deletion, but we could help in that situation. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Import the course first or import the module first? That's my only question.
So the reason that I suggested importing the course first is to see where you stand with it and if you like the design that comes over. If
Okay.
you like that design, then we'll let that ride and build on what you have. If you don't like the way that it looks, then I would suggest importing the template, or at least a home page, and then go from there, because it would be easier to build. Because by default, there are no pages, there are no home pages that come over into Canvas automatically. Basically, as you start building your module structure, that's what shows to the students on as a course homepage. So when they first log into the class, the first thing they're going to see are your modules, are your content. And that's not necessarily a bad thing if you do have a very basic course, but from a design standpoint, it would be better to have a course home, in my opinion. So Scott, there are size limits to each course. No course can have more than 2 gigs worth of information in it. Now, what that means, and that is specific to, it does not. It is specific to the files that you upload. So if you had a gig sized video that you wanted to upload that was not hosted somewhere, it's just on your computer as a MP4, and you uploaded that, that would count towards that total. Now, that being said, and this is important for a lot of different faculty, students have no size limit on what files they upload. Now, that being said, I would say don't encourage them to try to upload a 15 gig video, because that's going to lag out. It's not going to upload correctly. But no longer do we have that 60 megabyte limitation as a Dropbox submission. Okay, now that 2 gig file limitation only applies to the files that you actually put in the course, the physical files. All right, so anything that's hosted by Panopto or YouTube, or a video that you have somewhere else, that's hosted somewhere. That's not going to count towards that limit. Okay, sorry, Amy, I went past your question at that point. So did I answer you?
I think so.
Okay. And like I said, we're here to help. So if you have a question or a concern, or you start doing something, then absolutely here to help you. All right. So let's go ahead and show the process on how to export from D2L and into Canvas. Okay, because that's a big one that everybody's going to need. But before we do that, I want to point something out. Some of us have been here a long time and have many courses. I would strongly encourage you to use this time to clean up. What would really need to do is export the courses that you are currently using. If you have classes from 2007 that you haven't touched since 2009, you don't need that content anymore. That has all been kind of pushed into the new shells, right? But there are absolutely cases where courses are taught every couple of years. So you do need to make sure that you export the courses that you know you're going to need. So we have far too many faculty that are like, oh, I need every single video, because all of my students watch the 1.5-hour lecture video. All of them do. And then we go in and we look, and it's like, well, somebody watched one of them for 15 seconds. So the point is that don't grab the course just to grab the course. If you know that you're going to use it, or it could be a good reference, then absolutely do it. Now, I would also encourage you that if you have an external drive at the house, or if you have a computer, that is your computer, or however you want to look at it, exporting those courses won't necessarily be a bad thing. But then importing them into Canvas, if you know they're never going to be touched, is not a good idea. But you have a record of that, like, oh, you know what? Back in 2010, I remember I had this one assignment that I really liked. Let me go back and see if I can do that. And if you have that exported, then we can create a development course for you. And with that link that I showed you earlier on the resource page, where you can request a development shell, you can request that development shell, and then you can import that content in. All right, so let's go and let's take a look at how the correct way is to export and import from D2L. All right, so let me get rid of this thing at the top. I hate that it does the, okay, there we go. All right, so D2L, yay! All right, so I'm picking on my wife. I'm going to use her as an example. So in her course, we're going to go to More, Edit Course, and then we're going to go to Import, Export, Copy Components, a link that all of you know very well. Rather than clicking on the Search for Offering button, what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down and we're going to choose Export as Brightspace Package. Underline, bold, highlight. Export as Brightspace Package. So when we click on that, we're going to hit Start, and we can select everything that we want to copy. Okay, so we're just going to select everything in that course and hit Continue. It's going to ask us, and make sure here at the bottom, this is important, include course files in the export package. And we're going to choose Export. Now, your export has been started. You will receive a notification in the update alerts when it is completed. What that means is that this little icon right here, that is where it's going to show that the export is completed. Now, it doesn't usually take that long, but sometimes it does. She has a lot of material in her course. So we're going to wait just a bit. Any questions on anything so far? I'm going to stop sharing so I can see your faces. Because that part is, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to say this because, we made that one pager with instructions on how to do this as well. And there's also a short video that's like 5 or 6 minutes with instructions. But one of the things that it was pointed out that I didn't say in my video is to make sure you have a place to put the content. So, if you don't have a course shell already there, be sure to request that sandbox course through the link that Jimmy provided, because this does not create a course for you. You have to have it there and then upload to it.
Correct.
And I didn't put that in the video. In fact, Lauren and I, we're probably going to need to edit our document because we didn't say that specifically. And I think that's confusing. But yes, please make sure you request that sandbox course.
Okay. So what Sherry is referring to, and yet that is very important. That was something that I said. Make sure that you click on that ServiceNow Canvas request right here, and this is on the resources. And this link is available on pretty much every section of mtsu.edu/Canvas. You'll see the ServiceNow request, or Canvas now, or Canvas request. So as you come down and you're looking through the resources, you should see moving courses from D2L. So you have a good one pager here, PDF, and then you have the video. Okay, so like I said, this is a wonderful resource here that we have available for you. All right, so let's go back and check. Still not done.
I've actually, borrowed some of Kelly's content too in a training session, and it takes like 5 or 6 minutes. She's got a lot of stuff in her course.
Yes, she does.
You should
Maybe
have
it was a
picked one of
mistake to
mine,
use
Jimmy.
hers.
You should have picked one of my little bitty courses.
Well, basically what I wanted to show
minutes.
was an active course, something that is currently being used, something that
No,
is
you're right.
is a
I'm
large course.
just telling you, I've done the same thing, and it takes a few minutes. She's got a lot of content.
She does. All right, so while we're waiting for this, let's use this time a little bit for Q&A. Anybody have any questions so far on what they've seen? I tell you what, let's engage the class, shall we? What is one of the major things that you've seen that looks different in Canvas versus D2L?
Okay, well, I'll go. Yeah, it's just you and I, Jimmy. We'll just chat. No,
That'll
I
work.
was gonna say the dashboard inside a course in D2L is widget based.
Mm-hmm.
In Canvas, it's not. In D2L, you can choose the widgets that you want and the content in those widgets, but in Canvas, it is more page based. You can
Yes.
have those widgets in theory, but they would be located on that home page instead. You'd have to create those. So that was kind of
Yes.
a big change for me.
Melissa, I see you have a question. Go ahead.
Okay, so let me lower my hand there. I am trying to like go back and forth between watching you and kind of doing the right playing with the
Mhm.
faculty page. And so I went and I requested an item, Canvas request, and my Canvas request, I wrote, I would like a sandbox as course. And so then that's going to be made for me. Did I do?
Yeah, it will. All right, so I tell
I
you what.
already got it.
Oh, look at
Got the
that.
request. It came right through.
All right, so I am going to go in. And what was your name, ma'am?
I'm sorry,
What was your name?
Melissa Deer. I felt like it got my email wrong, and I didn't notice that till after I hit submit. Like I haven't, I don't know, no, because I'm maybe I don't know my email.
Okay, how do you spell your first name for me?
Melissa.
Oh, Melissa.
Yes, I'm sorry.
And your last
There,
name?
I
Oh,
see
dear,
it.
I see it.
Here.
Okay.
And while Jimmy's looking this up, just so you know, the ServiceNow request is auto-populated because it's through our SSO, so we'll always get your correct name and email, so you don't have to worry about
Okay,
that. And see,
excellent.
it's Melissa Lynn, dear.
Okay. There we go.
There it is.
All right, so I am going to impersonate your account. Ha ha ha.
Oh
Okay.
boy.
So you don't have any courses yet. Sherry's going to take care of that for you and build one for you. So you will see it right here on your dashboard, and you will see exactly what I'm seeing here. Now you won't see all of these classes, but you will see something here, and then you can go in
Mhm.
and start playing. Let's
Okay.
check hers one more time. Oh, she had a big class. Okay, so while we're here and we're looking at this, so when these classes come over, they won't necessarily have an image like this. So I'm going to show you
Mhm.
how you can make a change to that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the course, and we're going to go down to settings over here on the left-hand side.
Mhm.
And right here, if you haven't already put an image here like this, then what you would do is you'll see no image. So when you click on this, you can say choose image, and you can upload an image that is more based on what you're teaching. In D12, they had the stock images that you could go in and look at the repository of, okay, well, hey, if I'm teaching a nursing course, I want to have something with doctors and nurses. In Canvas, that doesn't exist. So you can upload your own image.
Can you show them how to put the nickname on a course too?
I can indeed. Okay, so now this is, and I agree with Lauren. I really like this aspect. So when you go to your dashboard, you have all of these things, all the names here. All right, so let's come down here. All right, so if you click on this, you can choose a nickname for your class. Now, your students won't see this. Nobody else would see this. This would only be you. So you could change this to Tuesday, Thursday class. Your students wouldn't see this. Now, the opposite of that, or actually, I guess coincides with, your students can make this same change also. So they can go in and they can name this awesome class because that's how they talk.
And it helps when you have that, just because, at least for me, when I had multiples with a similar name, I was able to do that so that I knew which ones were the right one I needed to go into.
Correct. All right, so import example down here. So whenever you check this one more time. I should have started this at the beginning of the class. I didn't realize it was going to take this long. None of the other ones I've done have taken that long. Okay, so when you first come into your course and you want to import existing content, okay, we're going to click on this and we're going to select one here. All right, so you have the Canvas course export package. This is if you were coming from another university and had, Canvas courses that have already been exported out. Copy a Canvas course, or you can come down to D2L export.zip format. This is what is coming in from D2L. So this is what you need to choose. This is where you would browse your files. I'm going to check this one more time. Come on. No. You know what's going to happen? As soon as we get done, it's going to pop up. But you'd be able to import right here. So you would browse for files and go for it. So let me try something else. I'm going to copy a Canvas course, search for course, Jimmy. All right. So we're going to do the training course. Okay. So one thing I wanted to mention real quick, this was a completely blank course. All right. So you can copy all of your content over just like this. So we're going to include completed courses, all content, or you could go in D2L how you had select specific items. You could do that also if you wanted to. Let's go ahead and just copy everything. You can also choose to adjust your event dates if you wanted to. You could shift the dates, remove the dates. So that would be a really nice thing. So I'm going to leave that alone for right now. And we're going to go ahead, check this one more time. Of course not. All right. So we're going to add to import queue. You can see that it's queued, and there's the progress. Now, this is something else that I think it does not. No, it does not work on announcements. Now, this is something that's interesting right here. Read this message with me. Previously imported content from the same course will be replaced. Manually added content will remain. So that's important. So if you copy the same course twice, is that right, Sherry? So if you copy the same course twice, it would
This,
not come
this
over
is
double?
new. They put that announcement up, that red announcement there. That is a
Uh-huh.
recent development because they said in the past that if you copy your course and you copy the exact same course,
Mhm.
then just replace, it would override. But they were having issues that some things were copying as like copy and then copy one and then copy two. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
Duplicating things. So that's why they posted that announcement there, not to recopy over and over into your course content. Helen says, and I have seen this in practice, Helen says that right now it appears to be working really well. If it is the exact same content, it will replace it. But if
Okay.
it is different content, it will add it. That's what it's saying. But one of the things that I
Okay.
wanted to say, like let's say we have an English 1010 class that was fall 25 and you've got an English 1010 class that was summer 25. That's two different sets of content. If you copy them both in the same course shell, you're going to have double of everything.
Yes.
And so that's why we say very carefully when you're
Mhm.
trying to import content, make sure that it's the right content and that it's not that you haven't already done it a couple of times.
Yes. Okay. So this is now the imported course. Okay. So when this course started, when I first came in here, it was completely blank. So I imported over from another course. Okay. Sorry, I didn't zone out for a second. I was reading the comments. All right, so Carrie, yes, you can set the dates on it. You're still working out the logistics of how we can have it. In the past, there was an edict that was passed down from faculty to Senate that said open 5 days early, stay open 10 days late. But whenever I would make that change in D2L, I would post an announcement saying, hey, the dates have officially been changed. If you want to change them back, here's how you do it. So when you come in to your class, if you come down here at the bottom and go to settings, I'm trying to decide if I don't want to overwhelm people.
Let me say it very quickly.
Go ahead.
Courses aren't visible until two things happen.
Publish.
The term has to start and you have to choose to publish.
Mm-hmm.
Two things. And that's one of the reasons for our spring pilot, to see how that is going to work and whether we need to make changes. Yes, there is also a way to open your class early, but if you are not participating in the spring pilot, I don't want to tell you that yet because
There we
we
go.
don't want you to open your courses early right now. But you will get more information on that.
Okay, so that's going to conclude what we were going to go over. I just want to point something out though really quick because this never popped up for me. Whenever you export your course into a D2L package, it will show up right here in the update alerts. Okay, and it will tell you export complete. And then you can click on it and it will download, and then you can access it within your downloads up here. Okay, that's where you can access it. I'm sorry that part did. I had no idea that her class was going to take this long to export, but she does have a lot of material. I should have thought about it. But are there any questions with what we've shown you?
Remember
Okay.
too that there's like a 5 or 6 minute video linked on that resource page that will show you that whole from D2L and into Canvas export process if you need that.
Yes, right here. So this is the Canvas resources for faculty. We're going to scroll down, moving courses from D2L. So this is going to walk through. This is a nice one pager here, and then you have the video for it. Okay. We've spent a lot of time putting this together, and the training team has done a fantastic job on this. I'm very proud of what they've accomplished. All right, Stephanie, you have a question?
So if we import our course and we don't change the dates at import, is there a way to do that later?
Manually. There's not a
There's actually a bulk edit for assignment dates.
Oh, and sorry, there was a chat that said announcement dates are not moved forward even with the import. Did I understand that right?
Yes, the announcement dates don't get changed.
And are discussions considered assignments then? Like, because like there's dates in about a million different places. So
yes, assignment, anything that is graded.
okay.
And I mean that very literally. Anything that is graded is an assignment. Now, you can see here that you have discussions and individual assignments and quizzes and things like that. But anything that is graded is in assignments. Sherry, where is that bulk?
Click on edit assignment dates.
Oh, you mean the one highlighted at the top? Got it.
Yeah, that one. And then look, see where it says batch edit there?
Uh-huh.
You can actually do all of them at once and just like get your calendar out and, put your availability dates and everything there.
Perfect. So you can shift your date.
The other thing I wanted to say about, when you're importing a course, then there's an option to try to shift the dates then. That never works right. Don't do it. It's not worth it. You're going to have to fix every one of them. I'm telling you, it never works right because it tries to align with what you had in the previous term course. And it doesn't say like this was due on Thursday, so let's make it due on Thursday in the new course. It says this was due exactly 37 days ago, so let's make it due 37 days forward. So it's very persnickety. The one thing you can do though is remove all dates. Jimmy showed you guys how to remove the dates when you do the import. That's the best thing. takes all the dates out, and then you get a fresh slate right here, and you can batch update. And that works for everything in the course.
All right, James, go ahead.
Hey, Jimmy, could you back up and show me that group change assignment dates again? That's a good one.
Yeah, so if we come into assignments,
Yeah, I'm there with you. Okay.
hit this drop down here, the three dots, or the kebab.
I can't see your screen.
Can you not?
Oh, hold it just a second. Okay, got you now. All right.
Okay.
Assignments.
Can you guys not see my screen?
Yeah, no, I was just on the wrong page, Jimmy. I got
Okay.
you. Hang on, let me
All right.
Oh, I got three screens going here, man.
No worries.
There we go. Okay.
All right, so we're going to click on that kebab and choose edit assignment dates.
Oh man, okay.
And then from here, now you can't just select batch up edit. What you have to do is select the individual items that you want to batch edit at the same time. So I just selected everything, and then you can click batch edit. And you can either remove those dates or you can shift those dates.
Okay. Wow, this is a time saver, man. This is a good one. Okay, good.
Okay. Thanks everybody for joining us on your really day off after all exams and all of those things. But hopefully this has been helpful to you. Thank you to Jimmy, Sherry, Karen, Tara, Hongmin, all our ITD and online folks are here. And reach out to us if we can be helpful to you in any way. Hope you have a great holiday winter break, and we'll see you back in January.